Did you hear about Canada's latest move? It's not just bold, it's historic. Imagine pulling off a $214 billion trade deal without even inviting the US to the table. Sounds impossible, right? Well, think again. The US wasn't ready. Now, the whole world's watching. Could this be the moment Canada reshuffles the global deck? Or is America about to strike back? Buckle up, because this could change everything. The US was the trade MVP until now. For years, the US has been the undeniable captain of global trade. The first pick, the playmaker. Everyone from China to Mexico, Germany to Japan. They've all been in America's orbit. The US was the trade heavyweight, holding the cards. In 2023, America traded more than $1.8 trillion with its top 5 partners. That's economic muscle. That's dominance. But things have been shifting. Have you noticed? The US has been tightening trade policies, getting caught in political gridlock, and pulling back from crucial international talks. Meanwhile, Canada, quietly, strategically, making moves. The deal that shook the world. And here it is, the Pan-Atlantic Trade Compact. $214 billion. A mega deal between Canada and some of the world's biggest players. Germany, Brazil, Japan, South Korea, and even emerging economies like Vietnam and South Africa. This isn't just some trade handshake. We're talking no tariffs on high-demand sectors, clean energy, aerospace, AI, pharmaceuticals, rare earth minerals, and even agriculture. For the next 20 years, Canada has locked in major deals that used to belong to the US. This isn't just about money, it's about stability, strategic partnerships, and future-proofing economies. And get this, Canada did it all without the US in the room. The players involved and what they gained. But what makes this even crazier? The countries involved aren't random. These are powerhouses, and many of them have long-standing ties to the US. So why did they pivot to Canada? Germany. Traditionally tight with the US, but after years of trade tensions, Germany's looking for stability. Canada stepped in with clean energy incentives, raw materials, and political reliability. Germany said yes. Japan. This one's huge. Japan has been a tech ally to the US, especially in semiconductors, but Canada offered them better intellectual property protections and a faster path to AI innovation. No-brainer for Japan. Brazil, agriculture, energy. Canada's green export focus, perfect fit for Brazil. South Korea, the tech giant jumped in for digital infrastructure and electronics. Think chips, batteries, and telecom. Vietnam, the wild card. Rapidly growing, resource-rich, and hungry for global exposure. No messy US politics. Vietnam's on board. Countries that once leaned on the US for trade are now locking in long-term deals with Canada. But why? The answer is trust. And perhaps something the US hasn't been able to offer lately. Stability. The perfect storm. How Canada pulled it off. So, how did Canada pull this off? It wasn't a fluke. It's a perfect storm. Here's why. US trade policy. 1 minute, the US signs deals. The next, they threaten to tear them up. This uncertainty was a huge turnoff for many partners. Canada, meanwhile, was playing the long game. Resources. Canada's got rare earth minerals, the essential ingredients for tech, batteries, semiconductors, and more. While the US was mired in supply chain drama, Canada was offering reliable, ethical sourcing. Political stability. No wild policy swings. Countries looking to invest long-term in global trade saw Canada as the safer bet. Innovation policies. Canada's investing in green tech, AI, and high-skilled immigration, making itself a future-ready economy. And here's the kicker. According to the World Economic Forum, Canada is in the top 5 globally for economic openness and trustworthiness in trade. Not bad for a country that's always been seen as the quiet neighbor, right? The US gets a wake-up call. So, What does this mean for the US? Well, it's a wake-up call, and it's a painful one. Here's the bottom line. When countries like Germany, Japan, and Brazil start redirecting trade to Canada, it's not just a few dollars on paper. This is real money, real exports, real investment. The US loses out. Think agriculture. If Canada becomes the go-to for soybeans and grains, that's billions of dollars flowing away from the US heartland, places like Iowa and Nebraska. And tech? If countries start choosing Canadian companies for AI and semiconductor development, the US loses its position as the innovation leader. Workers lose jobs. The US loses leverage. A global shift and Canada's power move for Canada. This is a game changer. That $214 billion deal? It's not just a trade win. It's leverage. Instant credibility on the global stage. No longer the polite middleman, Canada is now a primary supplier and a strategic partner to the world's biggest economies. Canada's GDP could see a 2.4% boost in the next 3 years. That's huge, especially for a country of its size. But this isn't just about numbers, it's about positioning. Canada now controls critical resources like lithium, nickel, and rare earths, all vital for clean energy and electric vehicles. It gives Canada a stronger voice in trade talks, tech regulations, and climate action. What happens next? Will the US try to catch up? Some say Washington's already talking about renegotiating parts of NAFTA, launching fresh trade talks with the EU, and creating new economic incentives. But here's the problem. Canada is already locking in its next round of partnerships. This deal isn't closed. It's designed to expand. Countries frustrated with the US. trade unpredictability could be next. Scandinavia, the Middle East, Australia. The new wave of trade alliances could be built on stability, not just GDP. And if that happens, Canada will be at the forefront of that next phase, leading the charge. The global trade landscape is changing. The old rules are being rewritten. And Canada? Well, it just made a massive power move. This $214 billion deal isn't just about money. It's a sign that the balance of global trade is shifting. Canada is positioning itself as a leader in the new world order. What does this mean for the US? Will it strike back? Or has Canada just claimed the crown? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm seriously curious. And hey, if this blew your mind as much as it did mine, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next.